Hey gardeners, today I'm trimming up the shrubs in my front garden and adding a pop of spring color with bright petunias and nepeta. A little pruning and fresh planting will bring this space to life. Let's get to it. Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden. And before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it on your favorite social media platform. Okay, we're in the front yard today and we're gonna be adding spring color. We're gonna be trimming some bushes. Kind of excited, we're gonna talk through all of that. Do wanna say that this direction is north. So this gets, as the sun shifts throughout the season, this maybe front 4 to 5 feet of the bed gets a lot of sun. And then the back gets not nearly as much sun. But I've done a lot of different things out here over the years, which I've really enjoyed. And I've got a few things coming up now. I've got some daffodils. I've got some baby iris coming up. I've got some foxglove that I grew from seed that's starting to come up. I've got some phlox. But I also have a big negative space area in here that we are going to fill with annuals that I grew from seed this year. Really excited about that. Now, before I get going, I do need to do some pruning on these kind of like pixie hollies over here. Do some pruning on those and a little bit of shaping on that particular boxwood back here. We just replaced that one over here, but we're gonna go ahead and shape that one up a little bit. I'm gonna try to get away with using my Ryobi battery operated pruners. We'll see how it does, but let's talk about pruning. I have to have all this stuff to like weigh down my garden journal so that everything doesn't blow away. Okay, but let's talk about trimming shrubs with the hedge trimmer and pruning them. So the best time is late winter to early spring before new growth happens on the all foliage ones. We want to do that before the new growth because we don't want to cut off all the new growth and leave all the old growth. Or if it's a bush that is flowers that blooms, you want to prune after the first round of blooms. Why should we be doing this? It encourages denser growth, prevents legginess, and allows for better airflow, reducing disease risk. And I've definitely been struggling with some disease or some issues on my boxwoods. And some shrubs bloom on old wood, such as azaleas and hydrangeas, and should be pruned after flowering, while others, like boxwoods and hollies, which is what we're going to be doing today, benefit from early spring shaping. Now, you want to be smart. You want to wear gloves. You want to wear eye protection. I don't typically wear gloves because I have a hard time handling things when I have gloves on, but I do always have my glasses. And if you don't have glasses, put some eye protectant on. So, because usually when you're trimming a lot of these kind of bushes, stuff just flies through the air and you can just take one right in the eye, which would not be good. Okay, so I wanted to just touch base on that. Let's start with the hollies, the little pixie hollies, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got my Ryobi battery operated trimmer. I also have one that you plug in, but I wanted to see if this would work. And you can see all the bushiness of this and how I really need to bring it back about 3 to 4 inches to the main shape that's underneath. And one of the first things you want to do is look for any dead or dying branches and cut those out. This dead and dying is actually maidenhair fern that's grown up through the shrub. It is not the actual shrub. And then when you are shaping a bush, you want to start at the bottom and you want to work your way up. So you want to start here. And I'm going to go for a round shape, so I'm going to curve as I go up. So I'm going to start closer in, and then work my way out, and then back to closer in. So let's try. All right, this is working okay. I definitely think I like the battery operated ones better. I will say the back of these shrubs don't have a lot of growth on them, specifically because they don't receive sun. And you definitely want to take your time coming in here and trimming up the shrub. You want to do it a little bit at a time. Don't go too heavy at first because you can always take off more. You can't put back anything you took off. I think that these pruners are good for a light shaping. I don't think they're really good for heavy duty work. I actually feel like the battery doesn't feel all the way charged, so I might go switch out my batteries and see if that helps out. But yeah, so also working on it, you want to step back and look. You want to step back and look and check the shape, looking for the outside shape of it, and seeing where you might want to clean it up a little bit. All right, let's start on this next one. Okay, I think I'm going to switch to the one where I have to have an extension cord because I just don't feel like this is making very clean cuts. So let's try that. Okay, I'm going to touch up this guy in here. There is a whole branch that needs to be taken out. Let me grab some pruners. So you want to take out any dead or dying branches before you start pruning. Just makes it easier for the pruning process. That one is on its way. I know I went ahead and took it out, but so it'll leave a little hole, but it is what it is, and now it can start filling back in. Okay, it's important to give them a good shake. Shake out any of the trimmings. And I know some of y'all are going to freak out. I'm not going to clean up my trimmings. I haven't mulched yet, so these can just become part of the garden. Go. Yeah, those look nice. Okay, so it feels good to get those shaped up. I like to shape those up before I plant. because after I plant, then I go through and add mulch. And I can leave all the trimmings, since that wasn't like a super heavy trimming, I can leave all the trimmings and just mulch over the top of them, and they will add nutrients to the garden. But let me bring y'all in closer, show you a little bit about what's going on, and then we'll place plants and talk about the plants that we're going to be planting today. Okay, so a few things we have going on here. We do have some dusty miller tucked in some places, and that can act as a semi-perennial for me. Right here I have a Cardana sage, which is absolutely beautiful. I have some bulbs coming up, including these teeny tiny little iris that I think are just the sweetest things I think I've ever seen. Love them. There's still more coming up in different places. Super sweet. These are Mount Hood daffodils coming up, which are really, really pretty. And then we already worked over here. We trimmed back this chrysanthemum, and you can see how it's sprouting in lots of different areas. This could probably be divided up into 5 plants and moved throughout the space. We have a black diamond hellebore back there that has not put off any blooms this year. So I'm not sure what's up with that. Now, back here you can see some little green seedlings in places. Those are foxglove that I started from seed, and that are tucked back in here, and they will continue to grow on and get nice and big. They'll be beautiful by April. And then we have some phlox right there and there. Now I have some negative space in here right along this area, and then maybe a little bit that way, I think, but mainly right around this area. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using a combination of 3 different plants in here. We're going to be utilizing some Marvelette Blue Calamintha that I grew from seed, and this is a perennial in my area, but it's kind of a shorter variety, and I'll talk about the varieties as I'm placing. Then we are going to utilize some of the Super Cascade Rose Petunias. They definitely need some deadheading, so I'm going to make sure that I'm taking care of that business as I'm placing the plants. And then finally, Sunshine Prism Petunias. These actually are a little dry. They need to be watered as soon as I get them in. And we're going to do a mix of them in here. Nice, bright, happy, full. I want it to be a blanket of color. And I think the combination of that Super Cascade Rose, Sunshine Prism, and then the purple of the Blue Marvelette Calamintha will look really, really nice. So let me start placing them, and I'll talk to you about each individual plant. Marvelette Blue Calamintha is a compact, bushy perennial with small aromatic green leaves and masses of tiny lavender blue flowers. Grows about 10 to 12 inches tall by 10 to 12 inches wide. Prefers full sun but can tolerate some partial shade. Low to water it needs, and drought tolerant once established. And it blooms late spring into fall. Super Cascade Rose Petunia is a large, showy, deep rose pink blooms with a trailing mounding habit. It grows 10 to 15 inches tall and spreads about 12 to 15 inches wide. Requires full sun for best blooming. Prefers moderate watering levels and blooms spring through fall. However, they don't do super great in the heat of my summer. Sunshine Prism Petunia is bright yellow blooms with a soft pastel undertone, creating a cheerful display. Grows to about 10 to 12 inches tall and spreads about 12 to 14 inches wide, and it thrives in full sun. It requires moderate water levels, and it blooms spring through fall, adding vibrant color to beds and containers. It benefits from regular feeding and deadheading throughout the season. So what I did is I only had 6 of the Calamintha, or maybe 8. 7, some of them are there. I did little groupings. So instead of spreading them out perfectly spaced, I put like a trio of them together to have a bigger burst of these beautiful purple flowers. So I did that here, and I did a grouping over here. And then I filled in with a mix of the Super Cascade Petunia and the Sunshine Prism. And I like the light Sunshine Prism in this area because it does get some shade. So I think that helps. I do find that petunias do better in this area because they get some shade during the day. Petunias don't do great in my area. Once the heat really hits, they're not very happy. So one thing I do, I've changed a lot in how I handle petunias every year. Starting to grow them all from seed, just because it's cheaper, especially since they don't last as long. Secondly, I put in a lot as soon as I plant them. Put in a whole bunch. because they're not going to have all summer to grow. They have until about July and then they're done. So anyway, that looks really good, filled in nicely. And we've got some other things for some other places, but getting this front area filled in, I think will be really good. The sooner I get these plants in, the sooner they can start growing. So we are going to use a slow release fertilizer. So let's start planting. Okay, so gave myself a really bad blister yesterday working in the back garden. Even though I had gloves on, we were burning a bunch of stuff. So gotta make sure I have my gloves on, and I've got a bandage on top of it because the blister's super sore. All right, so I think I'm gonna start with planting the Marvelette nepeta first. This year I've been trying to use, instead of my hori knife, which is my usual go-to for digging and planting, I'm using this kind of little like pitchfork that belonged to a great-grandfather. And I like the idea of using it because I feel like perhaps, at least in my head, that it is aerating. Put the Marvelettes in first, and then I will fill back in with the petunias around it. I also feel like the pitchfork is less likely to damage any bulbs that are down there, or my, what do you call it? Drip lines, drip irrigation. Let's see how I just got them in a little trio here. It's gonna work well. I started growing white Calamintha nepeta last year. I bought a plant from Bluestone Perennials. I'm obsessed with it. It blooms so long, it's so frothy and whimsical, and oh my gosh, it's just awesome. So instead of buying a whole bunch more plants, I thought this year that I would just start growing them from seed. And I had really great success. And I love that you can get multiple bloom cycles out of them, which is really great. Lastly, I'm using a liquid soluble fertilizer. I'm trying to use a lot of what I already have, but I have a lot of just little bits and odds and ends of products left over that I never finished. So this one right here is Proven Winners water soluble fertilizer, but then back here I've got an old Miracle Grow, and yeah, I'm gonna use it. I think it's like 5 years old. It's okay. Go ahead and use it, get it done. Just do a better job using what I have before buying more of something. And this is also something I wanted to do this year, where I am watering these in for the first time with a water soluble fertilizer, just to give them a boost, because the granulated slow release fertilizer will give it a boost over months. This will give it an immediate boost right off the bat. Okay, looking good. It's already got some color, which is really, really nice. Laying in the mulch really brightens everything up. It adds a contrast to the flowers that we put in. And of course the goal is for this all to just be a riot of color. Now all the plants are a little bit beat down right now because they just got really well watered. But yeah, looks good. Bushes cleaned up. Looks really, really nice. Happy to have that done. Okay, feeling good. Can't believe I grew those from seed, y'all. I'm just telling you the level of satisfaction. Oh, it's great. It's pretty awesome. If anything, this is fueling more. Like I just got a whole bunch of vinca seeds. I'm about to start a round of stuff for summer annuals, and I'm so excited. This looks great. I love the brightness. I love the colors that I chose. Really excited about that. Especially excited about that blue marvelette nepeta. It's gonna be really fun to show you all. And if those are supposed to be perennial, that'd be awesome. I literally just added like 6-7 perennials to my garden for like less than like $5. Pretty exciting. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you're able to start getting out in your garden and planting. For those of you who are still experiencing snow and cold weather, you're not too far off. It's coming. The south will go first and then you guys will come next, and it'll be really nice. I'll be excited to hear what all of y'all are doing. As always, make sure you like and comment on the video. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow the video so much. And if you don't feel comfortable leaving a comment, just drop me an emoji below letting me know that you made it to the end of the video and you say hi. And be sure to go check me out in my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. And the Patreon community is a close-knit group of gardeners who are really into gardening and really into She's a Mad Gardener. And I love it. There's a free tier, but there are also additional paid tiers. And the higher up you are, the more access you get, including videos, exclusive videos, sharing photos, chats, daily posts. And then I am getting ready to set up my first live in April. So I'm really excited about that as well, especially because it'll give me an opportunity to meet several of y'all face-to-face over the internet. So really excited about that. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.